Hey, morning guys. This is Sukesh joining. A very warm welcome to all the new joiners.
Good morning, sir.
Today's
Good
session.
morning.
Hey, Ali. You're not the new joiner. How are you doing?
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, as I discussed already, this session will be dedicated to the introduction of the course that we do, the combination of firewalls and the load balancers. So the whole idea behind today's session is to give a gist of what this course is about and who should do this course and what all are we covering up in this. So people who are joining for CCNA, clear this up. People who are joining for CCNA routing and switching, CCNP routing and switching, right? Once you are done with these things and you are thinking that you're good enough and you're job ready, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not, right? Because the job opportunities these days, they don't really want only routing and switching concepts. It's more like, the fundamentals. Uh, there was a time when you could get a job after doing CCNA only, right? I got my job while I was doing CCNA. I was not yet done. I was just, written in the resume that I am doing CCNA and they hired me. But that was like 10 years back. Today, the time has changed, right? Today, if you write your CCNA, your CCNP in routing and switching, even your CCIE in routing and switching, you might get a invite or something if you say you're CCIE in routing and switching, but they will expect a lot more skills from you. Skills in security, skills in load balancer, skills in other areas of networking like cloud computing and other stuff, right? So long story short, if you are having only routing and switching skills and expecting a job offer, you are not going to get it, right? You better get moving or start learning the new things. All right. Now the question comes, what you should learn apart from routing and switching. I don't say learn security. Okay. I don't say learn network security or load balancers only. You can learn cloud computing. You can learn other cloud stuff, right? AWS, Google Cloud, everything is there. You can go into the server domain. You can learn Kubernetes, right? You can learn the Docker technologies. But since I am into networking, I will talk about from the network perspective that how diversified it is as of today. Right? So it is not just routing and switching that is there in the network. What you also have is security. Now, in security, there are a lot of domains. There is information security, there is cyber security, then there is network security. They are all closely related. So it's a matter of what interests you, right? You can go for uh, CEH, right? You can go for firewalls. CH is the ethical hacking course that interests a lot of freshers, right? Oh, we get to do hacking and all, but this is all ethical, guys. Let me remind you. You're not going to fool around with somebody's network. This is all ethical stuff that you're taught. And you expect to get into a domain of the security auditors, network auditors, and in that domain where it is not that, that does not interest me. I mean, that does not cover up too much of practical stuff. It's like you have to know things, but you're not doing things, right? The more practical oriented course is where you learn firewalls, right? In this course that we're talking about here, we cover two major players of firewall technologies, right? That is Palo Alto and Checkpoint. Palo Alto and Checkpoint, they are very close competitors, right? From let's say 5 years or 6 years down the line, uh, or 5 years or 6 years ago, Checkpoint was the market leader, right, in firewalls, especially in the Middle East region and European that area. Right? They had a stronghold of the security market. Let me mute. All right, stay on mute, guys. So yes, so we decided to cover up both Checkpoint and Palo Alto because now Palo Alto is the leader in security technology. They are coming up with cloud solutions for security. They are coming up with on-prem solutions. They are the best in the market, to put it straight. Right? So, two best players in the market, Palo Alto and Checkpoint, we got them covered. And what this helps you is the whole idea behind covering up these two is these two offer all the next generation firewall features, right? Which of course all of the other vendors also do that, like FortiGate cover all these next generation firewall features. Cisco ASA with firepower, right? There's a new ASA in the market since quite some time now, which is firepower features. They all have different names to their all of the same features. So more generic term to those features is next generation firewall features, which are layer 7 features, and where firewall can protect you from antivirus, malware protection, and other DDoS and day zero attacks, right? But we are not covering these Cisco ASA and FortiGate because the idea behind is not every vendor is doing Palo Alto and Checkpoint, right? You might be thinking that we should be covering these, but excuse me. But the way this course is delivered is technology first, right? So we are learning the features. Let's say, let's take example of natting, right? Although this is not a super cool next generation feature, just for the example. So we are learning natting on the firewall. So the emphasis is on the logic first, right? You understand what natting is. When do you use destination natting? When do you use static natting, right? And what are the use cases of different type of NAT that are available to us, right? And then we learn to configure it on Palo Alto and to configure it on Checkpoint. So the logic remains same. What changes is the GUI, right? All of these firewalls, they configure things via GUI. So what changes is only the GUI. Your logic remains same. If you are planning to use destination NAT, the use case of it remains same. If you are planning to use port forwarding, right, the use case remains same. Only the way you configure certain firewall changes. So the point is, when you learn these two firewalls, you are competent enough. Okay, that's what I feel. I may be wrong. You are competent enough to work on the other two as well, or there are more. Cyber Roam, right? Then there is the other vendors are there. Sonic Wall is there. So they also have these features. But you know, how difficult would it be to configure or to figure out the same thing, destination NAT or port forwarding, in a different GUI, right? It should not be that difficult once you know the concept. So that is the whole idea. Technology first and then the configuration. So all our labs are designed in such a way that we do the theoretical part first. We solidify our concept that what this feature is and how is this implemented in the network, and then we go ahead and do it in the practical part. Right? Then we do it on the Palo Alto, do it on the Checkpoint, whatever we are running. Right? So that's about firewalls. Same logic has been applied to the F5. Now, why F5? As I spoke, let's rewind a little back when we're talking about routing, switching, and security. Now, when you're done with security and looking for a job, you may or may not get a job, right? Now you're into that zone, may or may not. From no job to you may get a job in security, right? When there is a specific requirement that people need security engineers. Now again, If you think that you're good with security and you don't know routing and switching, you're not good enough, right? Because routing switching tells you how the network flows, right? How the data flows in the network, and security tell you how that flowing data can be secured. So both of them are important, right? If you don't know how it is supposed to be working, you cannot secure it. The next important part, or the day zero requirement, is the load balancer. Right? This is one amazing product that is being used in almost every network, every application that you use. As of today, they are using load balancers. There are a couple vendors for load balancers. F5 is one of them. There are other like Riverbed, Netscaler. Right? There are other vendors also. But this seems to be, picked up the market very well, and it holds a major share of that market area. It's like it is the Samsung of mobiles, right? So everybody has this, be it a flagship model or be it a basic model, and you know every job would have this skill as a requirement, right? And now things are coming up with cloud and all. So this is how your job description looks like as of today. They need routing and switching concepts solidified. Right? They need security, at least one or two firewalls, right, which are leading in the market, not Cisco ASA, not the legacy one, right? At least Palo Alto and Checkpoint. FortiGate is also good up to a certain point. In the Middle East zone, they have all FortiGate there. But the other part of the world, they are on Palo Alto and Checkpoint. So yes, routing, switching, security. Then you have load balancers, right? Typically F5 in that case. And there is this new thing coming up, which is like good to have. It's a good to have skill as of today, right? Along with this, as far as the networking profile is concerned. Now, I would leave up to you to decide whether you should be doing these things to get a job or not. And some of you might be thinking, oh, I already have a job, right? Do I need F5? Do I need security? If I just do one of these things, should be good. It is good for now, right? But when you're trying to switch a job, you will not be in the company forever, right? Nobody is that loyal. Right? I am not, so I expect nobody is, right? So I would change job in every 2 years or 1.5 to 2 years. That's the maximum that I stay, right? Because that is the time that it takes to understand a particular network and get good hands on that network. And that's your part of learning is done. You better get going, right? There is, I don't believe in promotions and those things, right? Those things are not meant for technical people, to put it raw, right? You have to have other skills, which we will talk in the course when we do it. Okay. So yes, looking for a job, looking for a change, looking for a better opportunity, this is what you need to have. Now, this part is, of course, it's been there since long. People have been doing routing switching since ages, but they are away from security yet. They don't know what load balancers are, and cloud is all French to most of us, right? We don't understand. So in this course where we cover F5, LTM, and where we cover Checkpoint, and where we cover Palo Alto, I try to give you the best of my experience, right? I've been in the industry for more than 10 to 12 years now, right? And I'm into training for more than, let's say, 5 to 6 years on and off, right? So when we are doing these courses, you don't just get the certification part, let's say CCSA of this, right, and PCCSA of Palo Alto, and I think 201 and 202, or it's 201A and B. I'm not very sure about the number, but yes, this is the uh, certification or curriculum that we excuse me, this is the certification or the curriculum that we include in the uh, course combo. And how does we deliver these courses is it's either F5 first or checkpoint first or Palo Alto first. It's nothing like that. It's in the round robin fashion. You finish Palo Alto, you go to checkpoint, you finish checkpoint, you go to F5, you finish F5, you go to Palo Alto, and it is like that in round robin, right? So as of now, we have finished Palo Alto and we are moving towards checkpoint, right? That is why people who have inquired about checkpoint are part of the attendees today. Yes, and there are a couple others who have done Palo Alto and waiting desperately for checkpoint to get started. So hold on, guys, we're starting up. Yeah. So yes, that's about it. And
Sir, one question.
yes,
Sorry to
I was
interrupt.
about to say any questions this far.
Actually, after almost say completing this course, will be having a fresher kind of knowledge on this stuff, or it will be like experience kind of.
Yeah, not at all fresher. You are not fresher. It's only in your
Uh,
mind that you are fresher. Once you follow my guidelines, you will be as good as a 2 years experience on that particular technology. Let's say you are done with checkpoint, so you will be as good as a person who has 2 years of experience in checkpoint, right? A bare minimum. And if you practice more, you will learn more. So what I emphasis is on hands-on, right? When you read it in the books, you're not part of it, right? You're just reading somebody's view or somebody's knowledge what they have written. But when you do hands on, you are part of it. You are the integral part of it. You are doing things, right? So you are building a perspective, you are building a logic, and it is you who is directly learning it through the device. You're not reading somebody else's logic, you are building your own. So I recommend a lot of hands on in order to. Yes, that's a good question, and I try to always convince people that do not say that you're a fresher. Let's say you have 2 years of experience into routing and switching, and you have never worked with firewalls, you have not seen them, you have not heard about them. This is the course for you, right? So you start from here, like very basic. You have not heard about the firewall, and I take you to a level where you can say that yes, I have 2 years of experience working in certain firewall or load balancer. So I think that is good enough, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how we do that is, you will see that in every session, right? Probably the older students, they can vouch for me. The every session that we do is about 2 years, 2 hours of session, and every session includes the theory and the practical. So there is no day that we do not do practical, right? Do we have some older students here? Gautam, Ali, right? So that's how we've been doing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And this is a proven method, guys. I mean, it's not just about this course, but this is a proven method since years that I've been into training, right? This helps. This has helped me, right? Why do I do this? Is because this has helped me. Initially, I was into only routing and switching. I was preparing for CCNP certifications. Then I started preparing for CCIE routing and switching. And that's when I realized by the time I was preparing for CCI routing and switching, I had about 2 years of experience, right? So then when I started looking for more opportunities, I got to know about firewalls. I was like, oh, there is more to networking, right? Rather than just routers and switches, there is more to it. So I decided to explore more. I started studying security. Took me some time to get through my certification CCIE into security, right? I could have done it in routing and switching also, but I did not do it. I gave my written exam in routing and switching, booked my lab in a CCIE routing and switching, and then I canceled it. Right? I stopped preparing for it because that's when I learned, some somebody told me that, routing and switching is not good enough, like I am telling you today. So I got into security, and then I had the same dilemma whether or not I will be good enough, right? How do I say that I have worked on it? Because industry wants experience, right? They don't want to hire freshers. So this 2 years of experience which I had when I was doing a CCIE security, or by then it was 3 years. So I told them in the resume, I wrote that I have 3 years of experience in security. I never worked in operations. I never worked uh, in security field, but still I was saying that I have 3 years of experience. How did I prove myself? Right? I did a lot of hands-on while I was preparing. So whatever questions they asked, I was able to answer it, and that's how you prove it, right? As long as you can answer the interviewer, you're good enough. And of course, once you get the job, they give you KT and all. They tell you what their network is. They tell you other things. So you have to be smart enough to analyze that, right? So once you are okay with routing and switching part, you can do that pretty easily, right? So that's the way to go about it. Industry is not fair to you, right? They tell you that they give you X amount of money, and then they give you X minus Y, right? They deduct. So you have to be smart as well. You have to tell them that, yes, I have worked on it, and you get a job and then learn how to work on it. Right? Yes. Now, I hope I answered that question, right? About the experience. Let me tell you about what are we covering in these topics, right? In case of the firewalls, Checkpoint and Palo Alto, I'll be talking uh, together about Checkpoint and Palo Alto because the topics are more or less same. So I introduce you to the firewalls, right? The architecture, what a firewall is, how does it process the packets, right? That kind of an introduction, very basic to for the people who have not heard about firewalls, right? And then we talk about the architecture of the firewall or the setup. By setup, I mean how are they placed in the network. Many of us have seen the network, we have worked on it, but we are not sure that where the firewall would be sitting in the network. Where in my packet flow, where will I hit the firewall? So those kind of discussions are held here. And then we cover up some of the basic things uh, of the firewall, right? Which is access list, right? Or security policies, you can say in more professional terms. So you have security policies, you have net policies, right? And then you have site-to-site VPN, you have remote VPN, right? And in remote VPN, you also have SSL VPN, you have failover, high availability stuff, right? All of the networks, they run their firewalls on high availability, always two devices doing the job of one, so that if one dies, the other is always ready to take over, right? The show must go on. So that logic here in high availability. And after that, you have all the next generation firewall features, right? File blocking, URL filtering, HTTPS inspection, the decryption part, all of that. So we do all of that in Checkpoint. Checkpoint comes with about 15 days of trial license where we can try all of these features. Right? Palo Alto, although has some restrictions, but that is also good enough to understand. Right? We can configure things. We can, uh, at least the GUI has no restriction uh, as far as the configuration is concerned. Right? I'll take care of that part. And in F5, and yes, these topics that I have discussed here, they obviously have subtopics in them. Okay, the next generation firewall features will have URL filtering, file blocking, and then uh, HTTPS inspection. And then you have decryption, antivirus protection, all of that. And these topics are, I would say these are handpicked for you, because working in the industry, I realized that not everything that they decide in the curriculum is used. Right? You may have n number of things that are there in the books, but they are not really used in the industry. Right? So I have kind of skipped that. I will not be talking about those topics in depth. I may be discussing about them in a statement or so, but we will not go in details of those topics. Right? For example, there are layer 2 security features, right? DHCP security features, DNS, not DNS, DNS is used. Uh, the layer 2 security features like security on the basis of MAC addresses and all. So those are there, those features are there, but I have not seen too many networks using those features or relying on those features. And although the best practices say that we should have security at every layer, but once they put firewall in the network, they tend to be relaxed and let all of the job be done by the firewall. Anyway, more of these yarn session when we actually start with the course. I'll be telling you more of the best practices and what they do in the industry. Right? That is the add-on that you get along with the curriculum that is decided by the vendors in their certifications. Right, so again, we are covering the topics of CCSA in Checkpoint, and for Palo Alto, it is BCCSA, which is again the associate or intermediate course defined by Palo Alto. Right, and I've already given you a glimpse of what we are covering. So these are all the hot topics of any firewall. Right, when you know these things, it is good enough that you can brag about your security knowledge in the interview. Right, so this should be good enough. By doing these, I have people cracking up the TAC interviews, Palo Alto TAC and Checkpoint TAC. People have been placed in Palo Alto, in Checkpoint itself. Right, and during these courses, I also talk about what kind of questions they ask in interviews. So I have people coming back to me thanking that at this point you said that this question will be asked, or this topic will be asked in the interview. This is important, and they have been asked those same questions in the interview. So that perspective is also covered. Right, too much is covered and too less of price, guys. Okay, going towards F5. Now F5 is amazing device, guys. Right, it is my favorite topic to teach F5, because it is so amazing that people with 10 years of experience who have not worked on F5 or on any of the load balancer, they enjoy working on that. They enjoy learning that. It is so super cool, right? It tells you how actually your applications are being load balanced. Let's take example of Google, Amazon, all of these big websites you are running, or WhatsApp, or any major application that you're running. So F5 course gives you an insight of how things are happening in the backend. You are typing in google.com, right? You're searching for images, you're searching for emails, you're searching for videos, right? So how these things are isolated, how these things are load balanced, right? It is not just one server which is holding up everything, right? There are hundreds and thousands of servers. So how those things or those requests that you send are catered by these with these technology giants, right? What is running in the backend? So there are load balancers running in the backend. Right? So in F5 we talk about those areas. starting with, of course, the introduction of the device, how to set it up, how to license the device. This also comes with 30 days of trial license, which lets us try all of its features, right? So, which is pretty amazing for learning. 30 days is good enough. Introduction, and then you have the building blocks like virtual servers, pool, node, right, and pool members, all of these building blocks of F5. And then you have more in-depth topics of F5 LTM. What we are doing in this is the local traffic manager. There are multiple modules to it, guys. Those who understand this, for you, we are covering only the LTM part in the combo, because if we cover the other modules, it becomes too lengthy. So yes, LTM is being covered here. And in LTM, all of the LTM features, right? Pretty much all of the features which are not even there in the certification, we are covering up everything, right? Which everything means upgrading the device, doing a software upgrade, installation, licensing it, making new virtual servers, new pool members, uh, new SSL certificates, and SSL offloading and re-encryption. That itself takes about 4 to 5 hours of class, right? Just that looks like just one topic, but that's in depth. And again, you have something called I rules in this, right? So I rules is the scripting part of F5, where you can take over the decisions of the device. You can manually control all the decisions. Right? Then you have local traffic policies. It's same as I rule, but you do this with the GUI, and this is more of CLI, right? So same things. This is the latest offering to make things easy for the administrators. And again, in this also you have high availability. So guys, all of the topics which are there in the market today, you will be facing those from day one once you get into these jobs, right? All of that is covered theoretically as well as practically, right? I don't see a better course than this in the market at this price, of course, right? If there is a course, they are doing as good as I am doing, right? They're not doing any better. So it is safe to say that we are doing it the best possible way for you guys. Okay. This is about 60 plus hours, right, that we spend learning all these three. And yes, your maths is good. 20, 20, 20. Right? That is the approx amount of time that you will spend on each module, F5, Checkpoint, and Palo Alto. Right. So I would encourage those who have only registered for Checkpoint, or only registered for Palo Alto, or only for F5. I would highly recommend that you do it for all three. Right. That will help you in longer run. That will help, even if even if you know Palo Alto, even if you know Checkpoint, it will still add value to your resume, right? The course. Because we are talking about those things which are not there in the books. A lot of people think we are done with CCNA, we are done with CCNP, I can study security on my own, I can study F5 on my own. Yes, of course you can. I did it on my own. I did not go to any classes, right? But that took me about 2 years, right? 2 years to become CCIE security, right? And in which I failed once. So a lot of money, lot of effort, lot of time that I had to give to security alone to do it self, right? So of course you can do self study, but that will take time, and time is a major concern, guys. I would not recommend. If I have to learn any new technology today, I have learned things hard way, right? By doing self study. But if I have to learn new things today, like cloud and all, I would prefer going to a class, right? Because they have already done the hard work for you. and they will explain things. They will give you pointers that if you don't understand certain topic, this is the website that you should go to, or this is the video that you should refer. You would ultimately reach to these websites and these videos when you're doing self study, but it may take a significant amount of time, right? And by the time while you're doing self study, you might get a job opportunity, right? And you'll be like, I'm still studying, am I good enough? Right? That happens. So when the opportunity comes, you have to be ready. And all of this F5 checkpoint Palo Alto, when you're doing it with us, you become ready in like 3 months. 3 months, three things that you are learning, right? And if you do it self study, it will take you one firewall at least 6 months. Let me tell you, one firewall, 6 months. And I was doing an easier one, right? That took me 2 years. Cisco ASA, and that too with the legacy code, right? That nobody uses now. So that took me, and CCI security is all about Cisco ASA and a couple other devices like ICE and WSA, right? So all of these devices took me, around 2 years. So it is safe to say that, let's say you are mastering Palo Alto and getting job ready, it will take you around 6 months. And in that 6 months, nobody is going to tell you that how things are done in production, what sort of challenges that you can come with, or you can face with Palo Alto, right? Or what are the interview questions? Nobody is telling you in books. All right. So I would encourage that you give up the idea of self-study. Self-study is good, right? You should always do it, but you should not rely on it, right? It is an awesome thing. It is an awesome capability, but it takes time. That is the only concern that I have. Okay. And all of these parts, as I said, they will be done practically, right? Let me show you how do we do things practically. Any questions until now? Then we can move towards the practical part.
So are we not covering the upgrade of Firewall?
We are covering that.
Okay.
I may not have mentioned, yes, upgrade is also covered. These are basic things, guys. They are all covered. Introduction, architecture, upgrading from one version to the other, right? All of this is covered. Backing
So
up
in
the
the
firewall, backing up the configuration, rolling back the configuration when you are stuck, when you made mistakes, right? All of that is covered.
okay, okay. And in remote VPN, are we going to cover the global protect as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Uh, we are going to cover AD integration with Windows Server in a checkpoint firewall.
Identity, right?
AD.
AD, yes, yes, we will cover that.
And a quality of service.
No, quality of service, guys. See, one thing, you do not really do QoS only on the firewall. It's more of a network, throughout the network thing that you set up. And QoS itself is a different course altogether. You can spend about 10 hours on QoS alone. Right? So I don't cover that part in firewall. That will be a mix of everything.
Okay.
And having freshers coming up, you cannot be teaching too much of technology, right?
Okay.
It has to be absorbed also. So when you mix up QoS with firewall, it becomes a mess, right? Both dishes, they don't go well. They both are yummy, but they don't go well.
Okay.
Right? Any more questions, guys, about this? All right. So let me show you how do we do the practical. All of our practicals, guys, they are based on the virtual machines. right? As of today, every major vendor, they have virtual machines, because when you have cloud coming up, cloud is full of virtual machines. It's a generic infrastructure which is running different operating systems and different applications on the same hardware, right? A glimpse of what is virtualization: you have a single hardware which is running different software, right? Let's say it is running Windows also, and it is running Mac also, it is running Linux also, right, on the same hardware. So this is virtualization. And even further, to virtualization, now you have Dockers, right? They let you run one application, right? Not one operating system. They let you run one application. Let's say I want to run only Firefox, right? I want to run only RDP. I only need the functionalities of a browser. So you can run a browser in there, Chrome or Firefox or whatever it is. So it will be like an application starting up in this hardware, and it will have an IP address and all of the network information to it. I run RDP to it. So these are Docker containers. They are containing just one application, not the entire operating system, right? Because operating system is heavy, right? It takes some time to boot up the Mac, the Linux, or the Windows operating system. And after booting up, at the given point in time, you are running one application, right? You are either running the web browser or you're running some VPN software or anything like that. So when the requirement is small, you can further go granular in virtualization with the help of Dockers, right? So this is the latest in virtualization. How this is how cloud is being set up in form of Dockers, right? All of your applications are sitting in these containers. Okay, so coming back to how we do practicals is with the virtual machines, right? We have a software called EveNG, I mean, which is open to all. It's a free to use software. Let me show you. Many of you must be aware of it, but let me just show you. So we are running it here in the virtual environment. And we have labs like this, where you can have all of the devices. You have firewalls in here, you have Microsoft Active Directory, you have Windows PC, you have Checkpoint Manager, you have the web server, you have the users, you have the VPN simulated, right? Everything is there. You have the VPN user connecting in. So this will be our lab for the Checkpoint firewall, right? And we have similar labs for other, wherever it is feasible. I have incorporated multiple labs together, and wherever it is not, I have broken them into pieces just specific to that one particular topic, like only for security policies, or only for netting, or only for VPN, right? So this is one lab. We, as we go in the course, we will have more, right? And you will get access to this, right? Each one of you will get access to the lab. And let me show you the students lab as well. Right, so this is where you can create your own labs. So this is what people have been doing, right? Creating the folder of their names and making labs. For example, this guy, right? What is he doing? He's doing VPN lab. What also he's doing is a certificate lab. What he's also doing is the basic Palo Alto setup, right? And this does not limit you to practice only what you have studied with me, right? This also lets you run images if you are good at scripting, right? I am not very good at scripting. If you are good at scripting and you want to test your scripts here, this is the best place to test, right? Safest environment. See, she's not doing anything, right? There are lazy users also.
Sir, sorry for the interruptions. I have one question regarding the lab only.
Uh-huh.
I was doing one lab where I was unable to export, not export, import, yeah, export, import both. I was unable to do the import or export of the certificate in the remote side of PC. So how it was happening, like the management PC is connected with the firewall and it is getting installed in the management PC instead of getting installed in remote PC. So is
There, there should be some silly thing that is going around. We can check that, no problem. But not like right now. We can check this later.
oh yeah, yeah, sure. I just have this doubt, so I just talk to you.
No
Uh,
problem.
Window 12, something Node 12 is not getting started every time. When you select more number of devices, so one devices or two devices always get failed while rebooting that.
Yeah, that is because I was working on the Windows node. I was fixing the basic, like when you wipe it, it gives you a certain list of softwares already installed, right? So I was changing that list of softwares which you get already installed. I was involving Checkpoint in that, right? So that we don't have to install the smart console every time. That
Oh,
has been fixed, I believe. And if not, I will again check that. But last
uh,
time I checked it, it was fixed.
some old images are also there, I believe, sir. Because day for yesterday, I saw one old image. I don't know. I mean, it has been removed, I believe, but I saw one of them. So
Yeah, all of these images, I mean, few images people request me to add, like this guy, he's using HSRP here. I don't do HSRP trainings, right?
Mhm.
But he's already doing it, so I have to add routers and other things for him.
Mm.
Likewise, people have been doing other things which I have to add images for.
Okay.
So you can use what you have to use, and rest other things are not for you. Yeah,
Okay.
let's take it that way.
Okay, sir.
Right, and what is he doing here? So this is what it is, guys. And you can run Windows machines, you can run F5, you can run servers. But as I always recommend, in a single lab, do not run two machines or two servers. Right? It takes a lot of resources from the server. But again, this lets you do everything, no limitation whatsoever. Right? And while you're doing all of this, you can always ping me, always connect with me on WhatsApp or by other means, right? And I can help you wherever you are stuck. Right? I have been very responsive on WhatsApp. That's what I feel, right? Because whenever I see a message, I reply immediately. And I have I've tried to be as responsive as it gets. Right? People when they are doing practicals, that's when they need help, and I've tried to be an immediate help to them. And after every, not every class, let's say after every alternate or every class in 2-3 sessions, we try to take up the doubts and everything. I try to cover up what problems they are facing during practicals or during other theoretical portions, and I try to cover that up beyond the class timings, beyond the class hours. Right? So I'm trying my best, and this is benefiting people, and I hope it benefits you as well in every possible way. And to summarize this is for everyone who's trying to do good in security, who's trying to get a new job, who's trying to get a first job, who is away from security, is getting into security, never heard about firewalls. This is for all. Right? It's a very generic course. which takes you from being a beginner or less than a beginner in security and making you an intermediate or more than an intermediate level of knowledge into security and load balancing technologies. Right. So that's it from my side, guys. If you have any questions, more than welcome. And that's about the course and the number of hours and everything. So if you have any specific questions, then welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, just 2 minutes back I joined here. So may I know, is the checkpoint classes started today?
We are starting with the introduction of the course. The checkpoint classes will start by tomorrow or mostly by next week. That will be, intimated to you through emails.
Okay, yeah,
Mostly
because I
from
didn't.
Saturday, the coming Saturday, we will be doing the first technical class. Right. And yes,
Okay.
one important thing, guys, with that question, the class timings, the demo was starting at 9:30. The class timing will be a little early. It will be 7:30, 2 hours early from this time, 7:30 to 9:30 IST.
Okay.
Right. Let me just.
This is not checkpoint class, right?
This is checkpoint class. Checkpoint class hi hai. We are doing an introduction of it from the next Saturday, 7:30 to 9:30. We will start the technical class.
Okay, no, because I didn't got any information. Then where is the classes are going to start? So just now when I pinned to the networkings, they are said that today classes are started. I didn't got any information from your side.
That's okay.
Sorry for the interrupt. That I should not. I don't know that is the right place to discuss these things.
No, that's okay. It is we have joined today for such discussions only. That's okay. You have not been informed because you're not missing anything yet, right?
Okay.
And this is the right time to get you informed. And I think you got informed. Whatever it is, you got the information, right?
Yeah, but I got delay in the classes. Might be it's
That is
going to
not
end
you
now. I don't know.
missed
Just 2
anything.
minutes
That
back
is
I
what I'm
joined.
saying. That is what I'm saying. We have not discussed anything technical yet.
Okay.
You have not missed anything.
Okay.
So, sir, 7:30 is a new time for checkpoint classes for regular class.
7:30 to 9:30 for the regular classes, right? Saturday and Sunday.
But that will be little bit problematic for me, sir, because I'm having night shift. So the shift is going to over at 8 or sometime 8:30. So I'm unable to join the live session.
See, you don't have to work that loyally. Loyally, okay? I also work in night shift. So what time zone you are working in?
Like in IST only 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And
See,
sometimes
my
it
night
goes.
shifts are from 10:30, 10:30 to 7:30. Okay, so I don't get any work from 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
work will be not there, but the thing is, in the last session, like around in the morning time, we have to update, we need to put the update.
No, I'll tell you what. This is the best time, right? For people who are doing night shifts and for people who are doing morning shifts, right? Because morning starts at some 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So you can always manage that half an hour or 45 minutes of time either before or after the class, right? You should be happy that you'll be utilizing 1 hour of your shift in training, right? You can sleep 2 hours early. If you were in the normal timing, which is 9:30 to 11:30, after 8:30 you have to stay up for 1 hour, and after that for 2 hours. So you are 3 hours late to your sleep, and sleep is the most important thing in the world, right? The most, next to none, right? Sleep is the most important thing as per me. I think this should suit you the best.
Sir, is there any specific reason to change the class timing? Because we were perfect with the timings like 9:30 to 11:30.
Yeah, that was kind of a perfect. I could wake up late, but I would also prefer that. But this is like I've got other commitments at 9:30 now. That is
But
why.
admin told us that it will be from 9:30 onwards.
No, it is not 9:30. No, admin is not training. So today we are joined here for all this discussion. So yes, it is from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Okay. I hope that's okay. Is that a big problem for you guys? I mean, doing at 7:30.
So, Kesh, for me as an living in abroad, I think it's a bit hard for me. I don't know if you have agreed all together this or.
Ali, this should be easier for you, right? I mean, we are doing early. We are not delaying it.
Yeah, but currently I'm not in UK. I'm in Turkey, so it would be 5:30 in the morning.
Okay, so 7:30 a.m. here is 5:30 in the morning for you.
Yes, in Turkey. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So what, like the max I can do is from 8 to 10. Does that work for you? 6 a.m.
Well, if you have agreed to do for 7:30, then no problem. It's only for 2 days. It's not gonna kill me. So
I mean,
yeah, I'll go for 7:30. No problem then.
it will be hard to, I mean, no disrespect to your concern, Ali, but it will be hard to, accommodate everybody's choice in the timing. Right? I personally don't like 7:30 timing. So forget about discussing with you guys. So if I am being, ready for this, I think, considering it's just 2 days in the week, right? That is what I am thinking behind this.
Yes, I understand.
Sir, I believe it will be okay, sir, because at least we will get 30 minutes more time to get request and everything.
Sorry, what was that, Sanjay?
Sir, it will be okay, sir.
Yeah, 7:38. What he gave, that will be, that is manageable. Don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Like we can start with at 7:45 ish.
Sure, sir.
And that always happens when you say 7:30. It is always starts at 7:45. People joining in. Sometimes I join late. Sometimes people join late. So it was the practical time becomes 15 minutes late, and that's acceptable, I guess. All
Sir,
right.
is there any Hindi classes is also going to be started?
Yes. I
Just
was.
a few days ago, I got
Yes. I was about to tell you the same thing. We will also be starting with Hindi batch of all these three modules: F5, Checkpoint, and Palo Alto. Although the timing of it has not been decided yet, but yes, this will be coming soon. Um, in the weekends only, Saturday and Sunday. Hindi batch is coming up in say 2 to 3 weeks time. Okay.
only you will teach, right, sir?
Yes. So I am looking forward to it as much as you guys are, right? Even I love training in Hindi. English is more of a formal language to me. Uh, you don't get the best of me in English, right? That's how I would put it. Hindi will be full of weird examples to relate to the technology, right? English forces us to be a little more professional.
Correct, sir.
But yes, that's the need, and not everybody understands Hindi as well as we do. So that's okay. We will keep it separate, and English will be a separate batch.
Hello.
Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, Shukesh, this is Aditya.
Yeah.
Sukesh, actually, I have completed my CCNA certification one and a half year before.
Mhm.
Now, this is just a fresh start for me in Firewall actually.
Mhm.
So I just want to confirm, means what is the prerequisite topics should I have to brush up from the CCNA so that it will be more uh, easier to me to pick up the Firewall topics actually. Just want to brush up the CCNA. I can't brush up the complete CCNA. However, few topics is like ACL and netting, such types of topics should be prerequisite, right?
Yeah, that's okay. I understood your point. See,
Right.
I'm a foodie, and
Okay.
to make Hakka noodles, you should know how to make Maggie.
Correct.
So what you have learned right now is how to make Maggie, right? And
Okay.
we teach you how to make Hakka noodles, right?
Correct.
So that's the basic that you have learned. And this thing is you have already covered up the prerequisite,
Uh-huh.
and there is nothing new that you have to learn in order to start learning security.
Okay.
Right? Routing switching is more than enough. Not even the protocol, just the basics of network like the ARP protocol, the static routing, the IP addresses, subnetting. That's
Okay.
when you're done for the prerequisites and you can start learning security.
Okay. Sure.
Right? And even if there is a slight misunderstanding in your concepts, the basic concepts, we can always clear that up. You know? It's not hard and fast that I will not be telling you the basics.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Sukesh, I have one more related question on this matter.
Mhm.
Actually, to get a job on the security, I mean checkpoint firewall, is it mandatory to have a knowledge on the networking?
Well, you should know CCNA routing switching and CCNP routing switching level, and that's
I'm currently I'm working as a L1 supports, but we won't support. I mean, we won't go to the routing and L1. Only we used to support for the switching. So that's
that's
is
okay.
enough.
That's okay. I mean, I'll tell you the tricks to prove your experience into networking. That's okay. I think you joined late. We did a small discussion about that part.
Okay.
How do you fool or how do you play smart with the employers?
Okay.
All right. So that was a good discussion. Any more questions, guys?
So can I get this recording to I mean to get
Yeah,
it this on the
this
portal?
will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel, and you must be getting notifications. And I think this has
Okay.
already been done live. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but yeah, you will get the recording. No worries.
Okay.
Sir, is there any WhatsApp group or anything else for this,
For this,
like
I
previous
mean, the
class?
admin team has decided not to create a WhatsApp group, but that's only initial decision. What I see, I mean, I haven't discussed this yet, but going forward, we will have to create one because that's the easiest way to communicate. And mails and all, I personally don't prefer emails.
Yes, sir. Actually, we are facing the same problem like one other guy faced that
Right.
about the class
Put this
and
across to
timing.
the team. I'll put this across to the team, and I think we should have a WhatsApp group.
Yes.
And if you're talking about the emails, sir, then definitely still I did not get any updates from the networking for by email means to join the class and everything.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. I mean, emails, even if they have included your emails, at times they go into junk box or spam box, and you don't see it. At times they are stuck. At times a character gets wrong in the email and it skips you. So a lot of challenges with email. WhatsApp group is the easiest. I will put this across. As I said, I will talk to the admin team, and we will have a group soon. Okay.
Sir, I have one question.
Go ahead, please.
Actually, I joined last month and I missed some classes. So, do we have any new session or new classes?
Sorry, you joined last week and then what?
Last month, and I missed some classes.
Yeah, the missed
So I
class.
don't have
You don't have to
that
worry
towards.
about. I thought you guys already aware of it. All of these classes, guys, they are being recorded and they are being stored at a portal, which you will get access to along with the lab access, right? You will also get access to the recordings. I think it is there in the emails, but if you're not got the emails, let me reiterate that information to you. The video access is there of the portal. You get that for about an year, right? Same is for the labs. You get the lab access for about an year after the course is done, and that's good enough time, I guess. Right?
Sir, for lab access, So we have alternate path, mean two ISP connections, or we are following the same one networks.net.
That name is only for people who are not allowed to use IP addresses in their office network, right? Otherwise, I would be sharing only the IP address.
So we have two connections or one
Share a
connection.
public IP address on which the lab will be accessible.
Sir, what is the Palo Alto CLI default username and password? Actually, I'm trying to log in CLI, and I have tried.
Admin. You'll have to wait for some time for it to allow you get in.
But
On the firewall,
I'm getting this option, PAVM login.
That is what I'm saying. Wait for some time and it will let you log in.
Okay.
All right, guys. Anything related to the new things, the timing, everything is done. You can always reach out to the admin team or in the different ways of communication, right? And if you still have queries, you can reach out to us. And if not, you will get communication via email or WhatsApp group or whatever best possible way to tell you about the new course and the new Zoom ID that will be shared on your emails on your mobile phones about the upcoming class, right? And that will be the first technical class that we will have, right? No introduction of the courses in that. We will be starting with the course.
So we are going to start the technical classes from upcoming Saturday, right?
Yes.
And this tomorrow, are we going to cover this class?
No, tomorrow we are not going to have this, but for the older students, I can put a message in the group. If you guys have any questions or concern, we can have a session tomorrow. I don't mind.
Yes, I mean, have some doubt from previous.
Let's take that up tomorrow. That's okay.
Okay.
Hello. Tomorrow it will be 9:30, right?
Tomorrow it is only for the old students who are in Palo Alto with me and have some doubts. So if you want, you can join that, but I'm not sure how will I share that information with you. But why don't you start with the beginning, right? Let's start with the checkpoint for the new guys, and we will anyway come to the Palo Alto and F5. Right, so the tomorrow's class is only for old students. So that's a doubt session basically, not even a class.
So what time is it then tomorrow? Is this as normal time?
9:30.
Okay.
All right, guys, I would stop the recording now. Thank you very much for joining in. Right? I wish you guys happy learning.